David Rockwell is an award-winning cross-disciplinary architect and designer based in New York City. You might have encountered his immersive and colorful work at various restaurants, hotels, airport terminals, or on a Broadway stage. It's safe to say you came to theater a little late in your career.
I did. The way I got involved was, it was my first love. My mom had been a choreographer in theater. I was lucky enough to see Fiddler on the Roof on Broadway when I was 12, and that blew my mind. 1,300 people, including me, caught up in this swirling story that took music and dance and choreography and words, and was just life-changing. Everyone came out of there as a community. We also went to my first New York City restaurant that day. So I think that day really was a seminal experience for me.
That first exposure planting the seed, growing into over 30 Broadway productions as scenic designer. His credits include Hairspray, Kinky Boots, and She Loves Me, which won him a Tony. This season, David has his hand in not one but two shows on Broadway: Boop, the Betty Boop musical, and Pirates, the Penzance musical. What's your idea for this 2025 revival of Pirates?
This has been reset in New Orleans in 1880, one of my favorite cities, and a city that's all about this confluence of different styles of architecture and energy. One direction we went in was trying to set it in the port, because the port of New Orleans is really gorgeous. That felt like an opera. It just felt a little heavy. The breakthrough moment, and every project has some version of a kind of aha moment where you realize you can unlock something. We thought about the notion of assemblage or collage, meaning that the set itself would feel like it's in motion a little bit, that we could embrace all the different parts that made up New Orleans to create this kind of collage that isn't totally a real place. It's a kind of imagined theatrical space that has built-in energy.
Working in tandem with director Scott Ellis, choreographer Warren Carlyle, and the rest of the creatives, David and his team are brought into the project at its inception. As we're doing this interview, it's September. The show is not opening on Broadway till next year, in 2025. Take me through some of the beats that you are going on. And like you mentioned, you have multiple projects happening right now.
Theater models don't lie. Like, if you don't see it in the model, you're not going to see it on stage. So we really like to study sketch models, and then we do more finished models, and then we do painted elevations on the finished models. And we're somewhere in that stage right now. We're putting together working drawings, and these technical drawings, the painted model and the painted elevation, are all the documents that go to the shop so that they can build the show.
We next caught up with David several months later in February of 2025, as the set was being built at Daedalus Design and Production, located in the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
We're 3 weeks for when all of these pieces get totally finished and sent to the theater. So we're in a stage of looking at mock-ups of lots of things, amazing painters, and the carpentry starting to come together.
This is obviously a collaboration. David's design, and then you guys put it into motion. What is that collaboration like? And have there been times where you've said, David, this is not possible, we need to rethink this?
I would say there's a lot of friendly negotiation that has to happen, like where we have to understand their artistic goals and what they're trying to do, and then try and bring some of it sometimes back down to reality, which is this piece with a balcony on it might need a bigger footprint than has been accounted for in the original concept design. But that's what our job is to try and what's possible, how do we make it happen?
Once it's all done, it has to go into the theater. It's not going like this.
So I think we approach everything from that standpoint. How do we get it in the door? And we start in the technical design process with, what's the largest piece we can make that someone can actually handle, and keeping it safe. And then we split the sections up like that in consultation with David and the design team to make sure we're not making any moves that they wouldn't agree with when it goes back together again.
And try and minimize the seams that need to be addressed in the theater. So try and break the pieces along different paint treatments and stuff like that.
You can see where all of these bolt together. You can see where there's actually hinges here. So it's designed to fold up and come apart so that we can get it in the theater.
A little over a month later, David gave me an up-close tour of the set at the Todd Hames Theater as the final paint strokes literally were going on in late March, right before previews began. So David, today is March 31st. The first preview of Pirates begins on April 4th. Did everything work when you moved it in and were putting it together? Any hiccups along the way?
Well, since just you and I and no one else is watching, everything has worked beautifully, but given the fact that it is so labor intensive, we've adjusted things. We've learned a lot about how to tighten things up, make the transitions more exciting.
So the performers have actually been on this stage. They've rehearsed on the stage with your set.
And a lot of what we respond to is them, what feels comfortable, how to get access, how to get Jinx to her balcony. As much as you plan all that ahead of time, you learn a lot. And we're going to learn a lot in previews too.
The one thing I love about this set in particular for Pirates is that it is an old school Broadway set.
Right.
No offense to all the video elements that we're seeing a lot nowadays on Broadway. What was that like for you designing this kind of set for a Broadway show?
Well, it's the Broadway I fell in love with. It's the only art form I can think of where things move physically in front of you. It is literally a dream for me to do this work with these people in this space on this show is once in a lifetime thing, and you have to keep remembering it's a privilege to do this.
And then it was on with the show. Do you still have that, oh my gosh, this is my baby on stage moment every single time you walk into a space for the first time and see your set? Full scale?
I do. It's amazing. And it's hard not to get swept up in it. I think the thing about theater is it's temporal, like that doesn't exist anymore. But those memories are so deep and so powerful, which is why I love designing for the theater, because you get to collaborate, and when every element comes together, they create these memories where design is just part of telling that story.